Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me on this Monday morning. I wanted to come on and share something that I've kind of recently been tapping into and really enjoying. And so it's called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping, and it has been really cool. And so I thought I would just give a basic intro. I am no expert. I literally just started learning about it. I've always known about it, but never really looked into it much. So pop on. If you have heard of tapping, let me know if you've done it. What do you think about it? So I'm going to dive in here. And again, if you want more information, definitely do your research. There's so much out there, but the good thing is you can't do it wrong. You can't screw things up. And it's, very safe. It's not going to traumatize you or do anything crazy with these practices. It's really been helpful. Even just for my husband, we first learned about how to actually do the technique through a parenting course that we're taking right now. And it was talking about if you're really stressed, if your kid's, having a temper tantrum and you're kind of freaking out yourself and getting upset, you can actually do this tapping technique. Hello, everyone. Good morning. To anxiety and that stress, feeling that anger. And my husband actually messaged me one day and he was like, so I've been tapping away all day. I was like, because I told him, I said, okay, so we should really try and do this tapping. I know that you probably don't think it'll work and it's a little woo-woo for you, but try it out. You've done acupuncture, you know that helps with pain. Tapping is very similar, and I'll get into how it kind of works. But he was like, oh, okay, fine. So he messaged me and he said, wow, I've been doing this tapping thing all day at work because I've had a stressful day. And I went from being super angry, annoyed, to feeling, calm and able to get through my day within a matter of minutes. And I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. If Aaron is saying this, then I was way more on board with it. I was like, okay, cool. This is really neat. I'm going to be more consistent with my practice as well. And I've been using it to help fall asleep, to calm. I'm really have an overactive brain and I can make myself super anxious. I've struggled with anxiety my entire life and I have different anxiety management skills that I've been working on over the years. But this one I found was really good to just literally shut my brain off. I was like, wow, I feel like I can go to sleep. I feel like it's free. My energy is just cleared so I can just have a good night's sleep. It's been weird doing it. It's been great. It kind of feels like when you start practicing things and start seeing results, it especially so quickly, it just reaffirms the desire to do it even more, to continue to do it better and have even greater results. It's like when you do a diet and you lose a couple pounds, you're like, whoa, yeah, keep it going. That's kind of what I've been feeling like. So I'm like, I have to share this with you guys. And again, just basic intro. But what it really comes down to is you've got energy pools within your body, and acupuncture works on, when they put a little needle in. I've had acupuncture done lots of times. And the needle actually, stimulates the energy to release, because the energy can pool. And often our emotions, it pools that energy in our body, and we hold on to different things, different trauma, different pains, different, stressors, all of these things that contribute to a life that likely we don't want to be leading if we're in pain, if we're stressed, if we're anxious, if we're feeling traumatized from past events or whatever it may be. And so with acupuncture or different things, different therapy techniques, we can start to release that energy. But the cool thing is with tapping, you can actually start doing it yourself. You don't need to have a professional. Of course, if you want to look into this more, there's a lot of professionals that offer EFT treatment, and you can really dive deep into it. Because if you're feeling a lot of resistance in doing this practice and you're not feeling a lot of, release, it's likely because it's really deep seated, and you are going to maybe need to have, some more professional help in doing it. But the cool thing is you can absolutely get started on your own, with just a couple of minutes a day, and start to see an increase in, your overall happiness and your stress relief and pain. This is the research I was doing, looking at how many different people had physical pain, and they were releasing that physical energy that was locked up, say in the lower back, and they can just feel that pain. It's oftentimes energy that's built up. It sounds weird, but you guys, we are made up of energy. Quantum physics, look it up. This is not just woo-woo, like releasing the energy, getting it to flow. No, this is real stuff, you guys. My hand is a whole bunch of moving molecules, energy. It just looks like it's solid, but it's actually moving, okay? They're just really close together. We've all taken science. We know how it works. So we're all energy. So with this, when we tap on certain places, we are actually putting pressure on the energy and allowing it to move. Now, the important thing about it is you also have to acknowledge the feelings and the emotions that are going on with that energy in order to really release it. So yes, tapping, the physical movement of actually doing the tapping is going to help, but you're going to have an even bigger release if you talk your way through it. So there's a couple of different spots, and so I'll show you them. So the first spot is a karate chop, just right here on your hand, right here. So you can do a couple of fingers, you can do 4 fingers if you want, whatever feels good for you. I've been using 2 fingers. So this is the karate chop, and it already, like, I can already just feel myself like, it feels good just to tap there. So that was one of the things that in our parenting course, she said, when you're feeling angry or upset, or like you're out and about and your kid's having a temper tantrum in the middle of a grocery store, just tap and be like, I'm gonna get through this. It's okay. Yep, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm angry, but you know what? This will pass. This is not an emergency. And it's like, even just that simple, even if you just did that, no other tapping, because like it can maybe, visually you might look like a weirdo, but honestly, who freaking cares? Stop caring what other people think. But here you can kind of get away with like not many people seeing it if you're kind of self-conscious about it in the beginning. Also, this is a really great technique to teach your kids. I've been teaching my youngest, who does have a lot of like kind of anger bursts, to like I'll do the tapping and encourage him to do it. He's kind of getting it, but as they start to be exposed to these kinds of things, we can actually change how our kids deal with stress and anxiety and anger through stuff like this, right? It's a really great thing to set as an example. So anyways, okay, so you've got your karate chop. That's the first one. Then in between like your eyebrow right here, right, is just right here, dunk, dunk, dunk. And you want to do it like 5 to 7 times, the tapping. And then right here where, not in your temple, so like the little soft spot, but right where the bone, like not in your eye, but right where the bone kind of goes in, it's right here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like if you're screwing it up, whatever, you'll eventually get it. So it's just right there. And then the other spot is just right below the eye, right here. And then right here below your nose. And then the crease below your lip. Okay, and you can actually do it on both sides. You can do it on one side or the other, or you can do both. It's the same thing. So then on your collarbone, right here, I'm trying to find it. There we go. So right on your collarbone, and then on your bra line, kind of like a couple inches below your armpit, is another one. That one's kind of awkward. That's one I can't always get, but it's a good one right underneath your arm. And then the other one is the top of your head. And I like to do quite a few fingers on this one. Okay, so the top of your head. So we've got karate chop first. Then we've got your inner, like on your eyebrow, outside of your eye, your cheek, under your nose, your chin, your collarbone, your underarm, and the top of your head. Okay, so those are the spots. Those are the meridian spots where the energy pools. So how is that sounding? Is everyone like, oh my God, this is freaking weird? I would love to hear what you guys are thinking so far. And if anyone has been doing it along with me, if they feel any less stressed or anything, even just the physical motion of the tapping will help kind of lower your vibration. So you're not like, but here's the thing. This is what you want to now do. So it's really important that you set yourself up knowing that this is the things that you're experiencing, whether it's pain or anxiety or depression, whatever you're going through, anger, you have to acknowledge that feeling. And so much of what, I've learned and I always practice is it's not to like bury down my feelings, but I always try to, or I do my best to focus on the positive and always look at things in the lighter. side of things, right? So I don't like to dwell on things. I really, always do my best to see the positive, right? And I don't think about the negative. But with this technique, they say that it's very important to acknowledge the negative. It's not accepting it, saying like that's what you are going to be like forever. It's just acknowledging that in the moment you feel like a shitty parent. So you might be like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. I'm feeling like I'm a crappy parent. I'm such a failure. Like, wow, I just yelled at my kid. I'm such a biatch, whatever. Just acknowledge what's going on. Okay? So it's really important that it's not acknowledging the negative, it's just acknowledging the truth in the moment of how you feel. Okay? And so there's a lot of different ways that you can set yourself up for walking yourself through this and the actual the verbal piece that you put to it. One other site that I was on is they said, even though I'm feeling really anxious about my interview tomorrow, I fully and deeply accept myself. So you're acknowledging the negative, or even though I have incredible back pain and I feel debilitated, I fully and deeply accept myself, or whatever, right? And so you say that while you're tapping. That's how they say to do, is they start with the karate chop and then you keep going through. Even though I blank, whatever your issue is, I fully and deeply accept myself. So you do that a couple of times, and you can, at the very beginning, it's really smart to rate your anxiety or your anger or your pain or whatever you're feeling and narrow in on it. So if it's a specific pain, don't like focus on your whole body being in pain. Maybe focus on that lower spot in your back. Or if you're anxious about something, if you can try and label it, like I'm anxious about whatever, right? And then going through those spots, and just going through and then rating it after you're done. So after you've done 1 or 2, 3 maybe rounds, then kind of thinking to yourself, okay, where's my energy at? Do I feel any less anxious? Do I feel whatever? And if you don't, keep going through and doing it. Now, another thing, the second part of it is first you're acknowledging what's happening for you, the truth or the negative, whatever you want to call it. Then you want to go through and have some more like affirmation practices. So it's kind of like if you expect for yourself just to be everything's great. So say you're super anxious about an interview. This may completely take the anxiousness away, but likely it's just going to reduce it. And so if you were to then continue your second round of tapping after you've kind of done your first round, and then if you kind of started saying, I'm not anxious anymore. I feel so great. I'm going to do awesome in my interview. That's great if you feel that way, because a lot of people are able to take that affirmation, those kinds of things where it's like 100% like you're telling yourself that everything is going to be fine. But if you're feeling an inner resistance, like, okay, I feel better about the situation, but I don't feel like I'm going to just rock it and I'm 100% going to be fine, then you want to change the language around the affirmations that you're using. So instead, I am preparing myself for an interview and I'm going to accept everything that's going to be happening in this interview because I am doing all the right things to do a really great job. I am on the right path. I am accepting what I'm doing, like whatever, you know what I mean? It's more than just saying that the interview is going to be fine. I'm going to be totally okay, because you might have some resistance around that. Instead, it's like I'm doing all the right things to prepare for the interview. I am, I've been working really hard at this, getting this job or whatever it is, because then the affirmations make a little bit more sense in your brain because you're not like lying to yourself, right? You're being honest and you're like, I'm on the right path, or I'm choosing to believe that I am going to do a really good job in this interview. So it's a little different than saying, I'm going to ace this interview. I'm choosing to believe I'm going to do a really good job in this interview, or I've prepared myself really well to do a good job in this interview. See how those statements are a little different than saying like, I'm 100% going to rock this interview? You can say that if you want, but if you're feeling an inner resistance, like that you're lying to yourself, then just change your language around the affirmation that you're using. And I know this sounds kind of maybe confusing, but I'll go over it again. It's just really important that you first acknowledge the truth of what's happening, emotions that you're feeling, anger, pain, whatever it is, acknowledge it, do a couple of rounds of tapping, assess where your energy is at, and then go through and do the tapping again with your more positive affirmations on, kind of that, like, see the positive side of things, right? So in doing that, if you can practice that regularly, maybe it's a couple times a day, whatever it looks like, even if it's just once a day, you can get up in the morning and kind of like assess, okay, how am I feeling today? What's feeling weird? Maybe I had a crappy sleep, or maybe my back is hurting, maybe I'm anxious about something, or maybe my kid upset me and I'm angry, whatever it is, kind of assess and then go through a tapping technique, and you will find that your flow, your energy just feels so much more aligned, and you're not holding on to things as more like, there's a certain something that's coming up that I'm really anxious about. And the first day that I kind of found out about it, I was just like overthinking like a mad person, like so overthinking everything and just going over the worst case scenario in my brain constantly. And since I've been doing this tapping, specifically narrowing in on that anxiety about that specific issue, I've been going through my days without even really thinking about it, and, just able to just accept it as it is, everything will be okay, and that energy doesn't feel tight. Like, I often feel my anxiety like choking me, like in my throat, and I can feel it, and it just feels so heavy, and I just feel like I can't escape from it sometimes. And this tapping has really helped release that. And so anyways, I really hope that this was helpful. Please let me know if you did the tapping while I was doing it, if you felt any, energy kind of flowing out and just feeling more at ease. And if you have practiced it before, what do you think? Also comment if you are committed to trying this out, to trying this technique and giving it a go. Because honestly, if my husband can frickin' do it and see results, I feel like anyone can, because he doesn't believe in anything. Like, he's like, oh yeah, sure. He has to see concrete results. And the fact that he was able to go from like super angry to like very relaxed in a matter of minutes, I was like, that's really impressive. So try it out. Let us know what you think about it. And have an amazing Monday. Love and appreciate you all.